After his settlement agreement with ABC, that of course was kind of finalized this past Friday, Trump and his allies have decided to threaten more media outlets with defamation, slander, and libel lawsuits. Because why not, right? You just got the big victory from ABC. You don't have to sit for a 4-hour deposition this week as the judge had ordered you to right before the settlement. Trump won. And he didn't need to win. ABC could have easily won that lawsuit. But Trump won. He feels vindicated, but more importantly, he feels empowered. So now, according to a new report from the New York Times, the letters and threats are flying. Let me read you this. The legal threats have arrived in various forms. One aired on CNN. Another came over the phone. More arrived in letters or emails. All of them appeared aimed at intimidating news outlets and others who have criticized or questioned President-elect Donald J. Trump and his nominees to run the Pentagon and FBI. The small flurry of threatened defamation lawsuits is the latest sign that the incoming Trump administration appears poised to do what it can to crack down on unfavorable media coverage. Before and after the election, Mr. Trump and his allies have discussed subpoenaing news organizations, prosecuting journalists and their sources, revoking networks' broadcast licenses, and eliminating funding for public radio and television. Actual or threatened libel lawsuits are another weapon at their disposal, and they are being deployed even before Mr. Trump moves back into the White House. Some of this is coming from Pete Hegseth's lawyer, who happens to be Tim Parlatore. Parlatore has not filed any lawsuits, but he has suggested that if these media outlets continue publishing the things about Pete Hegseth that they have published already, maybe a lawsuit is in their future. Kash Patel has threatened lawsuits against these media outlets. And all of this is happening before Trump and his buddies get into positions of actual power. And that's the real threat. We are likely looking at a federal government that will be filing these defamation lawsuits when and if they come. So we're not talking about a private individual suing these organizations for reporting that, by the way, as far as we can tell, appears to be accurate. What we're talking about is these reporters, these journalists, these news outlets, possibly even independent media outlets. Midas Touch actually posted a segment talking about the fact that they were named, not as a defendant or anything, but they were mentioned in like the footnotes of a lawsuit that Trump had filed. So, they're out there pledging they're not going to back down. I know I'm not going to back down, but when it's from a person, right, it's a little easier to deal with. You get hit by a defamation lawsuit that is backed by the full force of the United States Department of Justice, that is a whole different ballgame. And that is what is being threatened here. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to sue you as an individual person. I'm going to go after you as an individual person. That's one-on-one. That's almost a level playing field, even if it is a billionaire threatening to do it. But when those people have the weight of the FBI, or the weight of the entire DOJ behind them, suddenly it becomes a lot more difficult to win those lawsuits just because of the weight that they have. And all it takes is the threat of those lawsuits, because we've seen it already. The threat of those lawsuits has already caused the media to fall in line with Donald Trump. That's why Joe and Mika from MSNBC went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring. That's why ABC decided to settle their lawsuit. They're bowing down to him because they are afraid. They're afraid of what he will do. They're afraid of who he's going to target. They don't want to be the victims here. So we're going to be the sycophants instead. That is pathetic. That is cowardice. Independent media is all that's left at this point, folks. And I hate to keep beating that drum, but I'm going to keep beating it. Not because it's self-serving, but because it's the truth. It doesn't matter if it's me here or over at Ring of Fire or Midas Touch or David Pakman or Sam Cedar or any of the other tons of wonderful people doing this all the time. We're not going to back down. We're not going to be beaten into submission. We're not going to run and hide just because they're threatening to go after people for telling the truth. Okay? It's a big battle. It's a battle that some of us may not have thought we were actually going to have to fight, but guess what? We are. We can be trusted because we're not afraid. You can't say the same about the corporate media. Thanks for watching today, everybody. And don't forget, if you're not already, please do subscribe to this channel. We have fresh content going up every single day, and I would really hate for you to miss out on that. And speaking of missing out, if you're not following me across all other social media outlets, then get on it. You can follow the links in the description of this video.